Philadelphia Eagles clearly have one of the most talented rosters in the entire NFL, and there's an argument to be made that it is the league's most talented roster. And this isn't just because of the established star players that the team already has, but also because of the young talent and high upside players that the Eagles already possess. And there's good reason to believe that several players on the Eagles roster could be getting ready to have a breakout year or a career best season. But who are these guys? Well, in this video today, we're going to go over 6 different Eagles players that I think are ready to explode next season. And if they do, the rest of the NFL should be scared. So we're not going to waste any time. Let's get straight into the video. So as I just said, the Eagles are a team that obviously has a lot of talent, and there are a lot of players that I think can take the next step for them this upcoming season. And if they do that, it's only going to serve to make the Eagles a more formidable and scary opponent for the rest of the teams that they're going to have to play this season. And there are 6 specific players that I want to talk about in this video. So let's get started with a guy who has made recent headlines, and that guy is Jordan Davis, who obviously the Eagles selected in the first round of the 2022 NFL Draft with the 13th overall pick, but despite being selected so high, he wasn't exactly expected to make a huge impact in his rookie season because obviously at the time you had Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave as the starting 2 defensive tackles for the Eagles, and they were expected to play the majority of the snaps. Now, in his rookie season, Jordan Davis did see some playing time in a limited role, more coming off the bench as a rotational defensive lineman, and he had some success, especially early in the season, especially stopping the run. He was a big part of the Eagles' run defense, and you could definitely see a big difference in the overall effectiveness of the Eagles' run defense when he was on the field and off it. He definitely made them a lot better in that aspect, but then he suffered an injury kind of mid-season, which sort of derailed, in my opinion, what I thought was a somewhat successful season for Davis in the limited action that he was getting, because then after that he didn't really look the same. He just wasn't nearly as effective. He didn't really show up as much in the stat sheet. You just didn't really notice his presence as much out on the field. So I would say that his rookie season wasn't exactly a huge success, but when he was fully healthy, when he was out there earlier in the season, he definitely showed some good flashes of potential. But now heading into his second season in the league, obviously Javon Hargrave has left in the offseason for the 49ers. The Eagles did draft his former Georgia Bulldogs teammate in Jalen Carter in the draft, but Jordan Davis is going to be expected to take on a much bigger role in his second season in the league. And there's good reason to believe he can have a lot of success. Obviously, like I just said, he showed a lot of potential in his first year despite not really having the production that maybe some Eagles fans wanted him to have. And he obviously also has the physical tools to be successful. I mean, he's a freak of nature. He's a giant human being. He's got some great speed, especially for his size. Obviously, great strength as well. And now, as I mentioned earlier, he's made recent headlines with sources saying he's gotten a lot better this offseason. Thomas R. Peterson put out a tweet saying this, quote, "Jordan Davis has made major progress this offseason, according to people inside the NFL that Greg Cosell has talked to. Davis' role is going to increase a lot heading into year 2. That's via the Inside the Birds podcast. So obviously this is a very good sign moving forward for Jordan Davis and the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's definitely going to get a lot more Eagles fans excited about what Jordan Davis can bring to the table next season. And definitely judging by this and the things I said earlier and the potential that he showed last season, he definitely has a good chance to make a big impact for the Eagles this season, especially if he is given that bigger role, which it looks like he's going to get. So overall, I'm just super excited to see what he's going to bring to the table, and I definitely think he can have a breakout year in his second season in the league. Now, the next guy I want to talk about is Devonta Smith, and he's obviously in a very different situation than Jordan Davis because I think he's a guy who's already considered to be a star in this league, and he obviously has had a very successful first 2 seasons in the NFL. In his rookie year, he put up some solid numbers. He had 64 catches for 916 yards and 5 touchdowns, and those 916 yards were good enough to break the Eagles' rookie receiving record, beating out Deshaun Jackson, who held the record previously, and then he got even better in his second season in the league. In 2022, he put up numbers of 95 catches for 1,196 yards and 7 touchdowns, and those 95 catches were good enough to break the Eagles' record for most catches in a single season by a wide receiver. But even with all the success that he has had in his first couple seasons, I still think there's another level that Devonta Smith can reach. He obviously hasn't made a Pro Bowl yet, he hasn't been selected as an All-Pro yet, and I think if you've watched Devonta Smith over his first couple seasons, you see the unbelievable skill that he has. I mean, he's a crazy good route runner with good speed, high football IQ, amazing hands, and elite body control. And he's made some of the best catches that I think I've ever seen in my time watching football, and I truly believe that this guy has the potential to be a top 5 to 10 receiver in this league at some point. Now, does he get to that point this season? I'm not exactly sure, but I do expect him to take another step forward. Now, is that in the form of a Pro Bowl selection or an All-Pro selection? I guess we'll see, and I just can't wait to see how good he is next year because I truly do believe that this is going to be the best season of his career yet. And if he actually does come out here and fulfill his full potential of maybe being a top 5 receiver, that's going to make the Eagles offense even scarier. Now, real quick, before we get to the next player, I just want to say make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications if you do enjoy this video and want to see others like it. Around 80% of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed, so if you're one of those people and you're consistently watching these videos, make sure you go down, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any more videos like this. With all that being said, let's get back into the video. And now the next guy that I want to talk about is Nakobe Dean, and he's another guy who was drafted in the 2022 NFL draft, but he was selected in the 3rd round as opposed to Jordan Davis being selected in the 1st round. And Nakobe Dean wasn't really given any sort of major role in his first year in the league, as obviously TJ Edwards and Kaiser White were the team's starting linebackers, and he kind of just rode the bench for his entire rookie season. But now, very similarly to Jordan Davis, he's expected to have a much bigger role in the 2023 NFL season, as both TJ Edwards and Kaiser White left the Eagles in free agency, and now Nakobe Dean's going to have to step up and be a starter for this team, and there's really good reason to believe that he can be very successful in his new increased role, as he was one of the leaders of that historically great Georgia Bulldogs defense, and he was labeled the steal of the draft when the Eagles got him in the 3rd round. And then in the few opportunities that Dean did have in his rookie season with the Eagles, whether it be in preseason or the regular season, he was very, very good and showed a lot of flashes of promise and talent. I mean, he made some pretty impressive plays. The main regular season game that he got his opportunities in was the Tennessee Titans game, as Kaiser White went down with an injury, and he came in and made some pretty impressive stops on Derrick Henry, and he was just flying around the field making plays. So obviously that's very impressive, and he's just overall got a great skill set. He can defend the run, he can be effective in pass coverage, and he can be used as a blitzer. He's just a really good overall player, and I'm just really excited about what Nakobe Dean can bring to the table next year. And if he does fulfill that potential that he has, he can take the Eagles defense to a whole new level. And now we get to the longest tenured Eagle out of these 6 guys, and that is tight end Dallas Goedert. And he's another guy very similarly to Devonta Smith, who I already think is a star caliber player, but he has a whole other level that I think he can reach. In Dallas Goedert's first 3.5 seasons in the league, he was the tight end number 2 option, as Zach Ertz was the starter at the time. But Goedert still put up some good numbers, but he just never really got the chance to be the guy or have a huge opportunity to show what he can do as the tight end number 1 option. Now, in the middle of the 2021 season, Zach Ertz was traded to the Arizona Cardinals, and he finally got his opportunity to shine as the tight end number 1 option, and his production went up in the 2021 season. He had 56 catches for a career-high 830 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns, and these are very good numbers. I don't think they were top 3 tight end in the league kind of numbers, but people were really excited to see what he could do in a full season being the tight end number 1 option. So 2022 was really supposed to be the year that he took a big leap, and to start the 2022 season, he was absolutely fantastic for the Eagles. He was having a Pro Bowl caliber year, but unfortunately, he suffered a shoulder injury in the Eagles' Week 10 loss versus the Commanders, and that limited his overall production that whole season, as he did miss 5 games with the injury. So overall in 2022, Goedert still put up some good numbers. He had 55 catches for 702 yards and 3 touchdowns, which, like I said, it's still not bad, but I think they would have been a lot better had he not gotten injured. So now, heading into this season, he's going to be looking to obviously stay healthy, and I think if he does stay healthy, I think he's going to have a Pro Bowl caliber year. I think he's very capable of reaching that 1,000-yard receiving yards mark. I think he can really shine through, have the best season of his career, and establish himself as a star in this league. Now, the next guy I want to talk about is Reed Blakenship, and this is a guy who I think all Eagles fans are really rooting for. He obviously was an undrafted free agent from the 2022 draft class, and at the time, he was just fighting to make an Eagles roster spot, and then he obviously ended up doing that. And fast forward to week 12 of last season, CJ Gardner-Johnson goes down with an injury, and Blankenship is forced to step in and play some meaningful snaps. And what does he do? He picks off Aaron Rodgers in his very first big opportunity in the NFL, and he got 4 more starts throughout the course of that season when CJ Gardner-Johnson was still dealing with that injury, and he played very well in those starts, and he also got some other snaps in other games, including the playoffs for the rest of the season. He was just very good overall. He was good against the pass, and he was also able to shine against the run. He just played very, very well, and I think he surprised a lot of people, including myself, but I found myself rooting for the guy more and more with each coming week. And now heading into this next season, after the Eagles have lost their 2 starting safeties from last season in CJ Gardner-Johnson and Marcus Epps, Blankenship might be ready to step into a a starting role, and he'll no doubt be competing for one of those starting safety jobs with Terrell Edmunds and rookie Sidney Brown, who I think we're going to talk a little bit more about in a later video. So again, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss that when it comes out. But I definitely think there's a real shot of Blankenship winning a starting job, and if he does that, I think there's a pretty good chance that he succeeds in that role. I mean, like I said, he's shown his ability before, he's flashed his potential, he's made some great plays, he's stepped up in big moments, and I think if he's given a bigger role, he's only going to shine more. And I definitely see him as a player that could realistically have a breakout year for the Eagles if he's given the correct opportunities, so I'm really excited to see what he can do next season, and I'm definitely rooting for the guy. And now the final guy I want to talk about is DeAndre Swift, the former Detroit Lions running back who the Eagles just traded for on the third day of the NFL draft, and now they have Swift on a one-year trial to see what he can do and be in this Eagles offense. And look, I think everyone knows that DeAndre Swift has star potential. I mean, the guy has great speed, great ball carrier vision, great agility, great elusiveness, great change of direction, great versatility. His only problem in his career has been staying healthy and his durability. I mean, because of the injuries that he's been dealing with throughout the course of his career so far with the Lions, he hasn't really lived up to his potential. I mean, he hasn't cracked 650 yards rushing in any of his first 3 seasons in the league. So this season, I think the most important thing for Swift is to stay healthy, because if he can do that, I think he'll undoubtedly have a career season if he's given the necessary opportunity. But if Swift is healthy, he'll be playing with the best offense he's ever been a part of, behind the best offensive line he's ever played with, and with a dual threat quarterback in Jalen Hurts, who is, in my opinion, the best quarterback he's ever played with. And Swift also has some great receiving ability as well. So again, if Swift is just able to stay healthy, I really think he can have a breakout year in his first season with the Eagles, just like I think these other players that I've mentioned have the chance to do as well. But let me know all your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Which one of these players do you see being the most likely one to have a breakout year or a career season in 2023? I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss others like it coming in the future. And if you want to watch another Eagles video, you can go watch this one right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.